Hi, this is Professor Cordes, and this is the Week 5 overview video for English 123 Intermediate Composition. This overview video is going to kind of just outline what to do for this week. There will be more detail in the lecture videos, so please make sure that you watch those. We are at Week 5. We've got Week 5, 6, 7, and 8 left. However, our big final research project is due at the end of Week 7. So we are coming down to the wire at this point. You have put together a lot of your materials, research, annotated bibliographies, your proposal, and now, ladies and gentlemen, is when we actually start to do our drafts. So with that being said, excuse me, this week is really focused on your writing. And I'll talk about this more in the lecture, but we need to make sure that we are managing our time. If you look at the agenda, even though everything is due day 7, there's a process over those 7 days that you need to kind of go through and work with your writing so that you're not overwhelmed days 5, 6, and 7. Okay. So if you have any additional readings, any additional research to do for your topic, please make sure that that gets done first. That's your priority. You're watching this video, you'll watch the lecture video about your writing. You're going to submit your first draft to the tutoring, which is actually like an outside party. This is for someone else to get a second set of eyes. You and I have gone through your topic. You and I have discussed things, but it's great to get an additional set of eyes, an additional set of ears to go through your reading and your research, or excuse me, your writing and your research, simply to get a new perspective. Okay. And then the last thing at the last end of the week is going to be essentially your draft. You will notice in the information, there's going to be a section here for submitting your research paper to Smart Thinking, which is a way to get feedback. But then also, this is the same assignment description. This is the same rubric that is used at the very end for our critical assignment. So you're going to be submitting this. You've got an additional draft, and then you're submitting your final. So we are working through the final stages now of your topic and what it looks like to piece together that critical assignment. Okay, so those are the components for this week. Real quick, let me outline time management. Specifically, as you go through your writing, how do I best describe this? As you go through your writing, you will need to make sure that you are balancing out between like having your brain rest, having your brain work, having your brain write. So even though you may sit down to the computer and type for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, you still need to work through that process of how do you outline things? How do you put things in order? Do I have the personal voice? Do I need to take that out? So there's lots of components to it. I would strongly suggest by day 5, you have a solidified draft done so that you can submit it to the Smart Thinking. Okay. So that means days 1, 2, 3, and 4, you are brainstorming, you are outlining, you are putting your resources in together, your in-text citations, you're putting it all together. And then what you can do is submit it on day 5. They'll take a look at it and get it back to you. And then you can use a couple hours to fix or change or modify anything. And then you can submit it to me by the end of the week. Okay. The sooner you get it into the draft, or excuse me, to the Smart Thinking, the sooner you can take that draft and revise it and improve it. Now, remember, this is not the final product. This is still the first draft. So it's perfectly fine if there's mistakes. We're leaning more towards this. A lot of times I will see people end up kind of going off topic simply because they're on a roll and they keep writing. There's lots of components to it. This is a draft. This is our first time that we are practicing through this. So don't be incredibly discouraged or overwhelmed. Okay. I will also suggest within those time management days of those first 4 days, when you do your writing, balance it out with equal times where your brain is thinking about something else. Okay. So if you work for an hour, you need to take an hour break. If you work for an hour, you need to do homework for another class for an hour. You need to go on a walk. You need to get up and move around. You need to veg out and read a book or watch a television show. You need to balance it out, because if you constantly are there, you just get further and further into your mind about the book and the writing and the edits. And oh my gosh, I forgot about in-text citation. And you just kind of go into this weird process of being overwhelmed. So for you guys, I'm going to ask that you balance, find some sort of balance, step back. If you work for an hour, take an hour break. Okay. If you work for 30 minutes, give yourself 30 minutes of downtime. If you are on a roll after those 30 minutes and you want to continue, absolutely. If you work for an hour and you're like, no, this is good, I need to keep going, then keep going. You guys are students, you know how to balance your time, but a lot of people get overwhelmed, and it's good to process and kind of balance that out. So if I work for an hour and I'm just fried and I can't think of anything else, I take a break, I hit the reset button, I come back to it with a fresh set of eyes, and everything is good to go. So I've already talked way over the time limit for an overview video. I will talk more about this in the drafting process. Email me if you have any questions or concerns. We're on the downhill now for our course on week 5. So take the time to start to process through and go through that writing. Okay.